This is the Buffett Mindset channel where we practice patience and calm wealth building daily. If you enjoy these types of videos, consider liking and subscribing. This will mean a lot to the channel. There comes a time when a man realizes that his greatest battle isn't out there in the fields of labor or in the market noise, it's inside his own skull. The frontier between despair and destiny is drawn within the mind, and it is guarded by thought itself. Every morning you rise, you step onto that battlefield, and whether you know it or not, you're either commanding your thoughts or you're being commanded by them. And make no mistake, son, the mind is a stubborn horse. If you don't rein it, it'll run you into a canyon. You must become the rider, not the passenger. That the discipline of positivity, not wishful thinking, but conscious leadership over what you allow to take root. Because negativity doesn't enter with thunder. It slips in quietly, in complaints that sound reasonable, in doubts that disguise themselves as caution, in a single bad thought that multiplies like wildfire through dry grass. And if you let it, it'll burn everything you've built, not because life's cruel, but because the law of the mind makes no exceptions. What you dwell on, you invite, and what you repeat, you become. But when your world falls apart, when the plans collapse and the people leave, there's not the time to curse heaven, that the hour to prove your mastery, that when your attitude becomes your anchor, the man who can hold a steady spirit in the middle of chaos, that the man who owns himself. Because when you've trained your mind to see meaning in misery and lessons in loss, the world can't take anything from you. It can only teach you. But to the truth few will face. Positivity isn't easy. Yet not smiling through pain or pretending everything fine. It war. A quiet, daily war against the default human condition to see what missing instead of what possible. Most men let life dictate their mood. The rare ones dictate their mood to life. That's why Buffett could watch markets crash and still sip his Coke with a grin. He understood that panic is a teacher for the unprepared and an opportunity for the disciplined. He didn't get that calm from fortune. Fortune came from that calm. That the reversal most men never grasp. I'll begin to that alone. Du renaissance proper plats again for stiff market one. That might flee at the slap. When your world falls apart, when the plans collapse and the people leave, that not the time to curse heaven, that the hour to prove your mastery, that when your attitude becomes your anchor, the man who can hold a steady spirit in the middle of chaos, that the man who owns himself. Because when you've trained your mind to see meaning in misery and lessons in loss, the world can't take anything from you. It can only teach you. But to the truth few will face. Positivity isn't easy. Yet not smiling through pain or pretending everything fine. It war. A quiet daily war against the default human condition to see what missing instead of what possible. Most men let life dictate their mood. The rare ones dictate their mood to life. That's why Buffett could watch markets crash and still sip his Coke with a grin. He understood that panic is a teacher for the unprepared and an opportunity for the disciplined. He didn't get that calm from fortune. Fortune came from that calm. That the reversal most men never grasp. The world says, be happy when you succeed. The masters say, stay positive so you can succeed. You don't wait for the harvest to feel grateful. Gratitude is the seed. Every day you have to plant it deliberately, in words, in thought, in tone. Because negativity is cheap. It costs nothing to complain. But positivity, real positivity, is built like muscle to resistance. Every time you resist the urge to gossip, to whine, to spiral, you're training your mental strength. The stronger you get, the quieter the noise becomes. You start hearing your own thinking instead of the world. You start catching yourself before the downward thought completes its sentence. You stop say, why me, and start say, what now? That shift is the foundation of greatness. Remember this, positivity is not denial, it's dominion. It's looking at reality square in the eye, seeing the storm for what it is and choosing not to hand it your peace. Life doesn't reward the man who hides pain. It rewards the one who refuses to let pain define him. Every moment you fend in bitterness is a moment you're agreeing with defeat. Every time you replay what went wrong, you're adding bricks to your own prison. But every time you speak life, and I mean speak it with conviction, out loud, even when it feels false, you're building something stronger than circumstance. Words are construction material for the unseen. Speak defeat, and your mind builds walls. Speak faith, and it builds bridges. That's why ancient wisdom, spiritual law, and every wealthy mind on earth agrees the tongue is the rudder of destiny. What you say daily becomes what you believe deeply, and what you believe shapes what you see. A negative mind cannot perceive opportunity. It's trained to look for threats. A positive mind, even in crisis, sees leverage. It sees timing. It sees possibility. That's why two men can face the same ruin, and one sees tragedy while the other sees timing. The difference isn't in luck, it's in lens. If you would rise above the tide, you must protect that lens like treasure. Guard it from the voices that profit from your fear, from the friends who mistake cynicism for intelligence, from the endless stream of noise that feeds worry like cattle. Starve your doubts. Feed your vision. Every night before you sleep, rehearse what went right. Speak gratitude until it becomes instinct. When you wake before the world floods your mind with its chaos, command your day aloud. Say it that long. Today I think abundance. Today I see solutions. Today I am unshaken. And don't say it softly. Say it like a general addressing his troops. Because your subconscious listens to tone, not just words. It needs authority. It needs repetition. That's how you train it. That's how you rewire centuries of conditioning that told you to react instead of rule. You must teach your mind that you are in charge now, no one else. Not the economy, not the past, not the opinions of those who never built anything. You. So when everything collapses and someday it can't, remember this law: you are not what happens. You are how you respond. Let others drown in complaint. You will float on conviction. Let others curse the dark. You will light a match, because every problem, every loss, every heartbreak comes with a question hidden inside it. Will you seek higher, or will you sink lower? Choose higher. Choose calm. Choose command. Because that choice, repeated daily, builds a mind the world cannot rate. And once you master that, the rest of life becomes astonishingly simple. You no longer chase success, you magnetize it. You no longer pray for peace, you live it. And when men ask how you keep smiling while the world burns, you'll just smile and say, because I decided to. That the quiet truth they don't teach you in schools or sermons or boardrooms. Positivity is not emotion, it's empire. The empire of the inner world, built one disciplined thought at a time. And when that empire stands firm, no external collapse can shake it. You can lose fortune, friends, fame, but if you keep your mind ordered, you'll rebuild it stronger, cleaner, wiser, because the man who rules himself will eventually rule his circumstances. That the law, that the victory, and that why no matter what happens, you stay positive, not does it easy, but because it's the only way to remain free. And when you begin to live this way, when positivity becomes not a reaction but a command, you'll start to notice something subtle but profound. The world itself begins to bend differently around you. It's not that the challenges stop coming, it's that their gravity weak. The same circumstances that once shattered your mood but now barely graze your spirit. You'll begin to feel if you've stepped outside the storm and found shelter inside your own mind. That's when you'll understand that positivity isn't naive, it's strategic. It's the highest form of intelligence a man can master, because it gives him control over the only battlefield that truly matters. The world rewards those who can stay composed under chaos. The markets reward those who stay rational when others panic, and life itself rewards those who could see meaning when others only see mess. That the law that governs all's great achievement, closure over reaction, creation over complaint, faith over fear, but to when most men falter, they treat positivity like perfume, something to apply when they want to smell better to the world. They say the right words when people are watching. They post quotes, smile for the camera, talk of gratitude, yet their inner dialogue is venom. You can't fake positivity, not to your subconscious. It knows what you truly believe. And when your words and your thoughts don't match, you fracture your power. You live split in two, half in faith, half in fear, and the universe doesn't reward divided energy. That's why you must discipline the unseen first. Don't just act positive, think positive. Don't just think positive, feel positive. Don't feel positive embodied so deeply that even your silence radiates steadiness. that the pen of power that can be bought or borrowed, that the power that builds empires quietly, that makes people wonder why fortune seems to favor you. They'll call it luck, but you'll know better. You'll know it law. The mind you've built will start producing evidence. Deals will go smoother. People will respond differently. Coincidences will start aligning in your favor. Not because reality changed, but because your vibration did. You're now thinking on a higher frequency. One clarity and confidence attract opportunity the way light attracts life. That the difference between men who force results and men who magnetize them. One strains, the other aligns. And that alignment starts every time you choose not to spiral. Every time you say, I'm not react to this with weakness. Every time you breathe, reset, and reframe. That not spiritual fluff, that strategy. That how the mind of a builder operates. Warren Buffett once said that temperament is more important than intelligence in success, and he was right. Temperament is the ability to stay rational, patient, and calm while everyone else loses control. That positivity in its truth form, not denial of chaos, but dominance over it. Now understand this well. Positivity doesn't mean you ignore the darkness. It means you light a lantern inside it. You acknowledge what's broken without surrendering your peace to it. You face what's painful, but you refuse to let it poison your vision. You remind yourself that every problem carries two gifts, information and instruction. Information tells you what went wrong. Instruction tells you how to grow from it. Most men receive the pain and miss the lesson, but not you. You're learning to extract meaning from every blow, to find opportunity in every loss, to choose even rejection a refinement. You stop asking why me and start asking what is this teaching me? That sick shift turns victims into victors, and it separates those who drift from those who direct. Because every man faces storms, but not every man builds sails. And you'll find as time goes on that positivity doesn't make life easy, it makes you stronger. The waves won't shrink, you'll simply rise taller above them. The disappointments won't vanish, you'll just stop letting them define you. You'll become immune to the emotional manipulation of circumstance. Even you mean, because this cover tried before you shall, you see, for you to find the last moon and the Lord sending you go back in the pirate has to pay every loss, to eat even rejection and besotment. You stop asking why me and start asking what is this teaching me? That sick shift turns victims into victors, and it separates those who drift from those who direct, because every man faces storms, but not every man builds sails. And you'll find as time goes on that positivity doesn't make life easy. It makes you stronger. The waves won't shrink, you'll simply rise taller above them. The disappointments won't vanish, you'll just stop letting them define you. You'll become immune to the emotional manipulation of circumstance. But that you're learning to extract meaning from every blow, to find opportunity in every loss, to eat even rejection a refinement. You stop asking why me and start asking what is this teaching me? That sick shift turns victims into victors, and it separates those who drift from those who direct, because every man faces storms, but not every man builds sails. And you'll find as time goes on that positivity doesn't make life easy. It makes you stronger. The waves won't shrink, you'll simply rise taller above them. The disappointments won't vanish, you'll just stop letting them define you. You'll become immune to the emotional manipulation of circumstance. Please stop asking why me and start asking what is this teaching me? That sick shift turns victims into victors, and it separates those who drift from those who direct, because every man faces storms, but not every man builds sails. And you'll find as time goes on that positivity doesn't make life easy. It makes you stronger. The waves won't shrink, you'll simply rise taller above them. The disappointments won't vanish, you'll just stop letting them define you. You'll become immune to the emotional manipulation of circumstance. While others break down over delays, you'll be preparing quietly for the next move. While others drown in comparison, you'll be two-faced on calibration. You'll measure progress not by applause, but by alignment. You'll stop saying, I hope, and start saying, I decide. That's the mark of mastery, when you no longer depend on motivation, because mindset has become muscle. You'll wake up steady, not searching for good news to lift you, because you've already built your own sunrise within. Once you reach that point, something beautiful happens. Life starts trusting you with more, more responsibility, more influence, more opportunity, because positivity is proof of readiness. The universe doesn't hand power to men who panic. It hands it to those who can stay composed when the stakes rise. You'll notice doors opening that used to stay up. You'll meet people who want to appear out of nowhere, carrying exactly what you needed. It won't be magic, it'll be mathematics. You've raised your mental frequency, and now you're attracting what matches it. That's why every master preaches the same truth in different tongues. Change your thoughts, and you change your world. It's not poetic, it's precise. That right, the night to people hate. But don't mistake this discipline for something you can do once and forget. Positivity is a daily practice, a lifetime vow. You'll have to renew it every morning, like a promise to yourself, because the world will always try to pull you back into noise through news, gossip, fear, scarcity, and the only defense is constant awareness. You must stand guard at the gates of your mind, like a soldier protecting a fortress. No thought gets in without inspection. No emotion gets to stay without permission. Every time you let a negative thought pass unchallenged, you give it roots. But every time you reject it and replace it with order, you remind your subconscious who in command, that not fantasy, that discipline. And soon, the discipline will become instinct. You'll begin to notice that your default reaction to crisis is no longer panic, but presence. Your instinct under pressure will no longer be to complain, but to command. You'll move through storms like a man who already seen the map. And while others spend their lives waiting for calm seas to start their voyage, you'll sail through any weather, because your calm is within. That's the secret the greats lived by: Carnegie, Ford, Buffett, all of them. They didn't pray for easy lives, they built strong minds. And now, so show you'll see that positivity was never weakness, it was weapon. The strongest one you'll wield. So when the next storm comes, and it don't flinch, don't curse the sky, don't say not against smile, because storms are how nature checks, if you've been listening. Every trial is an invitation to mastery, every collapse a chance to rebuild with wisdom. You'll rise from each one cleaner, calmer, and sharper. You'll learn to thank the chaos for keeping you awake. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the greatest gift life fair gave you wasn't comfort, it was the chance to become unbreakable. And the years keep unfolding, you'll see that the true art of staying positive isn't about escaping hardship, it's about transmuting it. Every challenge that once made you curse now becomes fuel for refinement. You'll begin to understand why the wisest men always seemed calm, why Buffett could lose billions on paper and still laugh about it, why the old philosophers could sit amid chaos and speak of peace, if it were the most natural thing in the world. It's because they learned to turn pain into power, delay into discipline, and loss into learning. You'll find that the greatest freedom on earth isn't financial independence or fame, it's emotional independence. When your peace no longer depends on outcomes, you've mastered something very few touch. You'll still feel anger, sadness, frustration, but they'll pass through you instead of living in you. They'll visit, not settle, because you'll have built a mind that doesn't negotiate with negativity. It acknowledges it, processes it, and move on like a river flowing around a rock. That's how you'll move through life, steady, deliberate, unhurried, unbroken, and you'll notice something remarkable begin to happen. The world, which once felt heavy and hostile, will start to mirror back the calm you project. Conversation becomes smoother, decisions become clearer, people begin to trust you not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. Your energy becomes a refuge for others. You walk into a room and the noise, quiet and out of fear, but out of respect. That the quiet authority that comes from self-mastery, you don't have to shout or prove. The way you carry yourself does the talking. You'll realize that most people are desperate for someone who won't crumble when things get hard, someone who can hold perfid when everyone else loses it. You'll become that person not through training others, but through training yourself. Because leadership isn't telling others what to do, it's showing them how it's done when no one else can stand. Now understand, this positivity isn't a fragile smile plastered over pain. It's the unshakable belief that no matter how dark the tunnel, They're light because you carry it. It's not naivety, it's defiance. You choose optimism not because it's easy, but because it's rebellion against defeat. The world will always present reasons to despair. The news will feed it, your surroundings will echo it, and even your mind will whisper it when you're tired. But you will rise each time and say, I not hand over my power. You'll repeat it until it becomes marrow in your bones. The man who refuses to surrender his peace cannot be conquered. He may bend, but he will never break. He may fall, but he will always rise. And in time, you'll start to see that positivity isn't something you perform, it's something you become. It changes your tone, your posture, your rhythm. You begin to speak differently, move differently, breathe differently. There's a weightlessness that comes from no longer clinging to what might go wrong. You stop trying to control every outcome and start mastering your state instead. At the hidden key most never find, control your state, and outcomes begin to bend toward you. You stop forcing, start flowing. You stop reacting, start responding. You stop panicking about time and start trusting in time. You no longer pray for the storm to pass. You learn to dance in the rain. That not poetry, son. That power. Because the man who can keep his rhythm in the storm can never be outplayed by it. You'll learn, too, that positivity is protection. Not in the mystical sense, but in the practical one. A positive man sees options where others see obstacles. He finds leverage in limitation. He turns breakdowns into blueprints. This like a person blind into sharp thinking. Because he's not wasting time feeding fear, he's thinking clearer. That's why life keeps rewarding him. When others freeze in doubt, he acts in faith. When others lose time worrying, he gains ground by creating. That's how he wins quietly while others argue loudly. You'll find that in business and relationships and every endeavor, the one who stays positive outlasts them all. Because endurance isn't about muscle, it's about mindset. Yet positivity requires pruning. You'll have to distance yourself from people who live in perpetual complaint. Their energy is contagious, their words heavy as anchors. You can't build while you're surrounded by demolition crews. You don't need to condemn them, just outgrow them. Walk with the ones who speak possibility, who speak courage, who call you higher even when it stings. Surround yourself with vines that feed your fire, not those that dampen it. Because no matter how disciplined you are, environment still matters. Stay too long in a swamp, and even the strongest legs begin to sink. Keep your circle small, clean, intentional. Every voice you allow in your life is shaping the tone of your thoughts. And thoughts become destiny. Positivity all means accountability. You can't claim to think higher while speaking low. You can't pray for abundance while gossiping about others. Every word is a mirror. Every sentence a seed. If your life feels full of weeds, check what you've been saying out loud. The universe doesn't judge your words, it executes them. You say, I'm always unlucky, and it agrees. You say, things always work out for me, and it agrees too. It every express minds do you wish to serve, because the mind obeys repetition, not reason. You must reprogram yourself daily with the right language. Write it down, speak it, feel it, let it root. Positivity isn't built in silence, it's built through sound, and one day you'll catch yourself smiling for no reason, not because of what happened, but because of what didn't destroy you. You'll realize that happiness was never something to chase, it was something to choose. You'll walk through moments that would have crushed your old self and feel nothing but calm resolve, that when you'll know you've crossed over, from reaction to rule, from fear to faith, from noise to knowing. You won't need affirmation or validation anymore, but your peace will be proof enough. You'll finally see that staying positive wasn't about pretending everything fine. It was about remembering that you are. And when you reach that level, when you live every day in quiet command, you'll look back on every dark chapter and thank it for the light it forced you to find. Because without the storms, you'd never have known your strength. Without the loss, you'd never have learned resilience. Without the pain, you'd never have sought purpose. Life was never testing you, it was training you. And every hardship was a reminder you were never meant to be controlled by what happens. You were meant to control what happens within. So when you rise tomorrow before the sun has even thought about stretching its light across your window, pause for a moment. Don't reach for your phone. Don't rush into the noise. Sit still and reclaim the frontier of your mind before the world trespasses on it. Whisper to yourself, not weakly, not casually, but like an oath you mean to live by. Today I will command my thoughts. Let that be your daily creed. You will find that if you win that first mental skirmish each morning, the day bends in your favor. You'll walk into chaos and see calm. You'll hear gossip and stay silent. You'll face rejection and feel gratitude, not as the world softened, but as you hardened in wisdom. That's the difference between those who drift and those who direct. One is tossed by life, the other steers it. And if you hold that steady habit, if you win the morning, if you choose your thoughts before they choose you, you will see life begin to unfold like a map revealing treasure you never knew you had buried inside. Because that treasure, friend, is the clarity born from calm, the riches born from resilience, the wealth born from unwavering mindset. You will notice that positivity practiced long enough becomes foresight. You'll start sensing opportunity before others do. Where most see crisis, you'll see timing. Where most freeze, you'll move. You'll learn to trust that inner compass that whispers it's still possible. And when the crowd panics, you'll be the one who smiles quietly, not because you know the future, but because you know yourself. You've trained your thoughts to serve you, not scare you. And that training, that invisible work of self-command, compounds faster than any investment. Every time you respond instead of react, you're earning interest in peace. Every time you choose gratitude over grievance, you're collecting dividends of power. Over time, that account grows so vast that even tragedy can't bankrupt it. That's what real wealth looks like, emotional reserves deep enough to handle whatever the world withdraws from you. But let me warn you, there will still be days when your mind feels like a storm you can't quiet, days when even the strongest thoughts seem to slip through your grasp like sand. That not failure, that life reminding you that mastery isn't maintenance, it's motion. You're not meant to hold peace perfectly. You're meant to return to it repeatedly. Every fall back into negativity is simply another chance to practice the return. Every argument, every doubt, a dip in spirit is the gem of the soul testing your endurance. The goal isn't to never stumble, it's to stumble forward, to learn how to recover faster, think cleaner, breathe deeper. The more you practice this, the shorter your storms become. What used to ruin your week will barely dent your hour. What once made you doubt yourself will now make you reflect. That evolution disguised as patience. And you keep walking this path, you'll begin to understand one of the deepest truths in all of life. Positivity is not about denying pain, it's about dignifying it. Every hardship you endure can either humiliate you or educate you. The difference is the lens through which you look. You can say, why is this happening to me? Or you can say, what is this preparing me for? That question is alchemy. It turns lead into gold, fear into focus, loss into leverage. The man who asks the right question owns his reality. The man who blames stays enslaved by it. So ask better questions and life will reveal better answers. Every difficulty contains destiny, but only a calm mind can read the signs. That's why staying positive isn't just about feeling good, it's about staying clear. When you are clear, you see what others miss. You see the next step while they're still stuck in sorrow. You see the lesson while they're still nursing the wound. And in seeing clear, you move faster, lighter, dream. Then one day, you'll find yourself mentoring others without even meaning to. They'll come to you saying, how do you stay so calm when things go wrong? And you'll smile, because you'll know that calm isn't something you found, it's something you built. You'll tell them that positivity isn't luck, it's labor, that it's the product of 1,000 little choices stacked like bricks, one calm thought at a time. You'll explain that while others chased control over life, you chased control over self, and that made the difference. Because the truth is, the external world was never yours to command. The only kingdom you were given absolute dominion over was within. And the man who governs that kingdom well becomes untouchable, unstoppable, and unforgettable. You will also start to feel a new kind of gratitude, one that isn't tied to outcomes. You'll feel thankful just to be aware, to be alive, to still have the chance to build and correct and create. You'll wake up and realize that the miracle isn't in what happens, it's in your ability to decide how to meet it. That kind of gratitude reshapes every moment. Even failure begins to feel sacred because it shows you where to fortify, where to refine, where to grow stronger. That when you truly understand the paradox of mastery, the more you surrender to what you can't control, the more control you gain over how you respond. That power of the quiet kind, the kind that builds empires and legacies that outlive the flesh. And eventually your life will begin to reflect the discipline of your thoughts. Your work would carry a cleaner energy. Your words would cut through noise, the truth through fog. You'll find yourself walking slower, thinking deeper, reacting less. The rush to prove yourself will vanish, replaced by a certainty that you already are enough, and because of that, you'll create more than did before. You'll inspire without speaking. You'll lead without demanding. You'll attract without chasing. Because your calm will become your calling card. Your steadiness will be your signature. When that day comes, you'll understand that positivity was never about ignoring pain, nor pretending everything is beautiful. It was about standing tall in the middle of both and saying, I decide. I decide how I will think. I decide what I will build. I decide how I will love. And the world, obedient to the law of the mind, will begin to move accordingly. Because above, so below within, so without. Your thoughts are the weather of your soul, and the forecast is always your choice. And the truth, son, is that when you master this, when you've learned to hold your own light even in the dark, you stop living like most men altogether. You stop rushing, you stop begging, you stop explaining. You start being. You start walking through life with a quiet certainty that others can feel even if they can't describe it. And they'll say you've changed. They'll say you're colder, quieter, harder to read, but you'll know the truth. You're not colder, you're calmer. You're not quieter, you're clearer. You no longer react because you've learned to rule. You no longer need to prove because your energy already does. That's the reward for every long night you fought the noise in your own head. The reward is silence, control, and command. You'll find that the richest man isn't the one who owns the most, it's the one who stays undisturbed. And in the part nobody tells you, staying positive doesn't make life ease, it makes you ready to face what others avoid, ready to lead when others freeze. You're ready to build when others break. Because positivity isn't the denial of difficulty or preparation for greatness. You'll see that every setback was training, every loss was leverage, every delay was divine alignment. What once felt like chaos will start to look like choreography. You'll see how all those dark detours were building the patience, humility, and precision you needed for when the door finally opened. That when you realize the law of life is simple but tricked until you learn to stay grateful in scarcity, you'll never be trusted with abundance. So when things fall apart again, and they will, because life never stops testing the worthy, you'll meet it differently this time. No panic, no rage, no collapse, just observation. You'll pause, breathe, and think. What the lesson this time? You'll write it down, you'll adjust, and you'll move on without losing your rhythm. That the quiet difference between the weak and the weak panic, the wise prepare, the weak react, the wise reframe. And every time you practice this, every time you choose peace instead of panic, you sharpen the blade of your mind until nothing dulls it again. You'll discover that positivity isn't merely emotional armor, it's creative power. When your thoughts stay clean, ideas begin to flow. Opportunities start connecting at constant. You'll begin seeing patterns where others see problems. You'll notice how negativity narrows your vision, but gratitude expands it. The world becomes a canvas again, and your thoughts are the brush. And the more disciplined your thoughts become, the clearer your reality gets. You'll start crafting your life the same way a sculptor works on marble, slowly, intentionally, removing what doesn't belong until only mastery remains. When that happens, when positivity becomes instinct instead of effort, you'll notice a peace that follows you everywhere. Not a passive peace, but one born of earned control. You'll laugh differently, calmer, deeper, knowing that laughter isn't denial but strength. You'll work differently, less desperate, more deliberate. You'll speak differently, measured, meaningful, knowing that your words shape your world. Even your presence will change rooms before you say a word. People will sense something unspoken in you, something rare, that not charisma, that control. And in a world built on panic, control is the new wealth. But remember this, and remember it well, Staying positive isn't a one-time decision, it's a lifetime covenant. You will have to renew it daily. You'll be tempted by fear, seduced by doubt, ambushed by voices that say, be realistic, be careful, be normal. Don't listen. Their normal is misery dressed state, maturity. Their caution is fear disguised as logic. Let them call you delusional. Let them laugh at your optimism. It doesn't matter, because the man who holds faith when others fold always ends up leading those who once mocked him. The world calls him lucky, but heaven calls him faithful. Positivity, then, is not the art of pretending, it's the science of alignment. It training your emotions to match your intentions. It refusing to let temporary pain rewrite your permanent purpose. It remembering that the same sun that burns also grows, and the same storm that floods all cleanses. The wise man uses both. You'll reach a point where you no longer label things as good or bad they are, and every one of them is working for your good. That real maturity. Not emotionless indifference, but divine understanding. You stop asking life for comfort and start thanking it for clarity. And one day, far from now, when you look back on all the years you spent worrying, comparing, doubted, you'll almost laugh, because you'll see how none of it mattered. Every delay had timing, every loss had purpose, every detour had instruction. The whole phone was rigged to build you into this version of yourself, calm, patient, powerful. You'll realize that the journey wasn't about what you achieved, but what you became while you stayed faithful in the fire. You didn't survive, you transformed. You didn't stay positive, you became unstoppable. So hear the truth, the one they never write in the books. Life doesn't reward those who never fall. It rewards those who rise faster every time they do. The man who would keep his spirit unbroken while everything around him collapses, that the man who could build anything, anywhere, with anyone, because his foundation isn't physical, it's mental. That man is rare. That man is powerful. That man is you, if you choose it. Every day, without excuse. Now close your eyes, breathe deep, hear the rain if it's falling, or the quiet hum of the night if it's still.
And say it, that you mean it in your last chance to command your life. No matter what happens, I stay calm. No matter what breaks, I stay building. No matter what leaves, I stay grateful. I am the master of my mind, and my mind creates my world. Say it until it's not affirmation, but identity. Say it until you feel the shift in your chest. Because the world is loud, son, but your spirit is louder. And the moment you believe that, you'll never need saving again. When the world tests you again, and in ways you can't yet imagine, you'll notice something different. The shaking doesn't shake you anymore. The noise doesn't pierce you. You'll move through fire like you've walked through it before. Keys you have. And that when you'll know you've crossed from belief into knowing. It's no longer about forcing yourself to stay positive. It's about realizing you've become positivity itself, calm, centered, unbothered. You no longer try to see the good, you just do. You no longer chase light, you are light. The storms don't stop coming, but they stop mattering.
You'll see the whole world beat a conversation between strength and surrender, and you'll know your place in it to hold peace, no matter the weather. There will be days when people test that peace, when the small-minded try to pull you into their storms because they can't stand that you learned how to walk through yours. They'll mock your calm, they'll call you detached, they'll accuse you of not caring. Don't defend yourself. Let time do that for you. In their chaos, you'll see their prison. In your silence, they'll see your freedom. And though they won't say it, they'll envy it. Because deep down, every man wants that kind of control, not over others, but over himself. That's the highest wealth there is. The man who can stay positive in chaos is the man no one can conquer, not even fate itself. As the years pass, you'll stop talking about happiness altogether. You'll trade the word for equilibrium. You'll see that happiness comes and goes with the tide, but equilibrium, that mastery, you'll stop asking life for easy days. You'll ask instead for the strength to meet hard ones with grace. You learn that calm isn't built by avoiding storms. It's built by standing in them long enough to see the pattern, to hear the rhythm behind the thunder. That when you'll start moving through life like a man in tune with something unseen. You'll stop reacting to surface events and start responding to the deeper current beneath them. That when you become dangerous, not because you fight harder, but because you don't need to. And soon you'll find that the things that used to excite you, the rush, the noise, the applause, don't mean as much anymore. You'll crave quiet. You'll crave precision. You'll crave the company of those who don't drain your energy, explaining why they can't. You'll start building in solitude, not because you dislike people, but because you finally understand that clarity grows in silence. You'll learn to disappear when necessary, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. Because when your mind is calm, your thoughts sharpen. When your thoughts sharpen, your actions cut deeper. And when your actions cut deeper, the world adjusts. That's how you start commanding life instead of chasing it. The beautiful irony is that once you master the discipline of positivity, you'll attract everything you used to chase: peace, prosperity, presence, purpose. They'll come to you because you stop demanding them. You became a vessel big enough to hold them. The world rewards stillness, but stillness means strength. It means certainty. It means faith without the noise of fear. That the paradox of it, the less you grip, the more you gain. You'll start to see that abundance was never hiding from you, it was waiting for you to slow down enough to see it. But never forget, this isn't a finish line you cross once, it's a campfire you must keep feeding every day. Some mornings you'll wake up sharp, radiant, focused. Other mornings the old thoughts will creep back like thieves in the dark. Don't curse them, expect them, invite them. Then remind them who runs this place now. The mind is a muscle, it remembers the old rhythm. Your job is to teach it the new one. Every time you bring yourself back to peace, you're lifting that mental weight. Every time you choose faith over frustration, you're building spiritual muscle. One day you'll realize you've grown so strong inside that even your weakest days are better than your old strongest ones. And when you meet others who are lost in the fog of negativity, you won't judge them. You'll recognize the struggle, but you lived it. You'll speak softly, you'll guide firmly. You'll be a living reminder that peace isn't found, it's forged. And maybe your steadiness will be the light they needed to start building their own. That how the fire spreads, not through speeches, but through example. You'll learn that positivity is contagious when it's real, when it's earned, when it comes from a man who's been to the bottom and built his way out with nothing but thought and faith. So when the night feels heavy again, when your plans fail, when your heart aches, when your patience thins, remember this, it all training. Every storm, every silence, every setback, it life asking you, will you stay the course? Your answer doesn't need to be loud, just steady, just calm, just consistent, because the quiet endurance of a man who refuses to rake under pressure is the loudest declaration of power there is. Now listen close, because these are the words that should end every day you live from now on. When you lay your head down at night, whisper this to yourself. I am not a victim of my thoughts. I am the author of them. I am not the echo of fear. I am the voice of faith. No matter what happens, I rise. No matter what I lose, I learn. No matter what breaks, I build again. I will not curse the dark. I will light the fire. Let that be your lullaby. Let that be your law. Because the man who says it, believes it, and lives it, he no longer walks through life hoping for peace. He carries it with him everywhere. And when your story is finally told, when people look back on your life, they won't remember the wealth you built or the storms you survived. They'll remember how you stayed unshaken when everything else trembled. They'll remember the fire in your eyes when others saw only ash. They'll remember that you smiled when no one else could find the strength to. And in that memory, they'll find something eternal. The proof that one calm, steady mind can change the world more than 1,000 frantic ones who kid. And somewhere down that long road, when you've spent enough years wrestling with life and finally learned to stop taking the fight so personal, you'll realize that staying positive was never about pretending the world is kind. It was about choosing not to become cruel because of it. You'll see that optimism isn't naivete, it's rebellion. It's rebellion against the noise, the cynicism, the slow rot of hopelessness that eats away at men who stop believing in their own strength. You'll understand that the man who can stay calm in chaos is more dangerous than any army, because he cannot be manipulated by fear, he cannot be seduced by anger, and he cannot be defeated by doubt. His weapon is presence, his armor is peace, his crown is self-control. That's what true kingship looks like, not domination over others, but dominion over self. You'll also come to see that the reason most people fail to remain positive is not because they're weak, but because they confuse feelings with facts. They think a bad day means a bad life, a small mistake means nuts failure, or a fid loss means the end of their luck. But those who rise learn to treat emotion like weather, temporary, shifting, incapable of defining the landscape. When a storm rolls in, they don't curse the rain, they prepare for the harvest. They plant thoughts of patience while others panic. They see the mud, proof that the ground is fertile. And when the clouds clear, they're the ones left standing with roots deeper than before. Because positivity is not about avoiding the rain, it's about learning to dance in you without losing your rhythm. One of the hardest truths you'll learn along this road is that people won't let you calm. They'll call you distant because they can no longer trigger you. They'll call you selfish because you no longer feed their drama. They'll call you emotionless because you no longer bleed at every provocation. But let them talk. Their discomfort is proof of your growth. You're no longer laying the say emotional games, no longer answering every summons to chaos, no longer confusing reaction for connection. You've become selective with your energy, deliberate with your words, and precise with your focus. You've learned that your mind is a garden, and not everyone deserves to walk through it. Then one day, you'll look back on the man you once were, The one who woke up anxious, reacted to everything, chased approval, and mistook noise for purpose, and you'll almost weep with gratitude, not out of pity but pride. Because you'll know how far you've come. You'll know that every quiet morning you chose discipline over drama was a brick laid in the foundation of your peace. You'll know that every time you bit your tongue instead of retaliating, you were building strength no gym could teach. You'll know that every night you repeated your affirmation, even when you didn't believe them, you were rewiring your very destiny. And you'll finally understand that staying positive was never about forcing a smile. It was about forging a soul that no longer bends to circumstance. But beware, this level of mastery will tempt you to forget the fire that forged it. You'll start thinking it easy, natural, automatic. And the moment you do, life will test you again. It'll send a challenge that cuts deeper, a storm that blows harder, a silence that lasts longer. And when that day comes, don't curse it. Welcome it. It not punishment, it proof. It proof that the universe still sees potential left in you. It calling you to climb another rung, to expand that calm into new corners of your life you haven't yet conquered. Because peace that cannot endure pressure is only performance. Real peace must be proven. And so, when the next storm comes, remind yourself, I've been hid before, and I built myself here. Remember that positivity doesn't erase pain, it refines it. You'll start to see every hardship as another tool in your workshop, shaping your character into something unbreakable. The man who keeps a calm mind in the face of chaos is the one who learns faster, leads better, and loves deeper. He doesn't waste energy wishing the storm away. He studies the wind, learns its language, and uses it to sail farther than others had dared. That the hidden reward of discipline, the more you master your emotions, the more life starts opening doors you once thought were locked. And then, when all the noise of ambition finally settles, you'll find something far richer than success. You'll find serenity. You'll wake each morning not with anxiety, but with quiet anticipation. You'll stop measuring your worth in results and start measuring it in response. You'll stop asking, how much did I gain? And start asking, how gracefully did I move through today? That when you'll realize you've transcended the grind. You'll still build, still strive, still dream, but you'll do it with ease. Not because life got lighter, but because your mind got stronger. You'll speak differently now, slower, more intentional. Your words would carry the weight of a man who has seen storms and stayed standing. You'll encourage others not by preaching, but by presence. You'll listen more than you lecture, because you'll understand that real wisdom doesn't rush to prove, it waits to serve. And that patience, that unshakable calm, will be your greatest influence. Others will start to mirror your composure. The world will respond to your energy because energy is the true language of leadership. You'll no longer need to raise your voice. Your peace will do the speaking. And in the quietest moments when no one is watching, you'll smile. Not because everything went your way, but as you finally learn to walk through anything your way. You'll realize that all the pain, confusion, and struggle that once tormented you were with lessons written in a language you had to learn. Now you're fluent. Now you see the code behind the chaos. And that the great secret, the one only a few we learn, positivity, isn't denial, it decoding, it reading between the storms and recognizing that every line, every shadow, every silence was working toward your rise. So hold that truth close and let it guide you no matter how dark the night, no matter how long the road. You were built to stand, not in arrogance, not in defiance, but in quiet knowing. Because the man who could hold peace while the world burns, that the man who owns the fire.